Since you got a permit.
Justin thinks that he does not want me teaching our children how to drive. He just,
Does he think you're a bad driver?
yes.
He does.
And here's the funny thing, a couple months ago, he was like, we really need to get you a new car. And I said, do not give me a brand new car. I will hit something and you will be mad at me. I will always get a used car, always. I don't want that pressure. Because sometimes I do really good and like don't hit things for years, but then
Then you play pinball.
Well, Debbie won't drive me this stuff because, when she was like 18, 19 years old, on 291 on the bridge, she ping ponged off that thing for high school. And now she is scared to death of driving. So all these years later, she's still in drive. Just go out, get used to it. There's no one there, she don't know.
I still have a cough from COVID. It's getting less, but it's not gone yet.
Hey, I had one from Thanksgiving to New Year's.
It's annoying.
I know. To avoid lawsuits in the future, I'm gonna hit your, don't give them the face.
Oh, goodness.
It is right on. Like a gravel with a slab.
I would never do such a thing, ever.
Yeah.
That's installed it. So the only thing that would be installed in it. And then it's engaging interest. So my name and contact information. Organization.
You feel me?
Does your right on
Other day.
which we do not.
Right.
Yes, there's no, but we're interested in, no, we are not interested. What did we just have? It says no.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's, you know, and I'm like, I prefer to have like no, and we're not implementing this at this time, or something like that.
See, the problem with these surveys like this is radon is a naturally occurring
Good evening. It is Tuesday, February 18th, 2025. This is the Kearney Board of Aldermen meeting. Call the meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So you've had a chance to take roll.
I've taken roll. Everyone is present. You have a quorum.
Thank you. And I'll notate that our finance director is joining us remote this evening. She is dealing with some family stuff, but Stephanie, I appreciate you being here tonight, even if it is remote. We'll move on to public hearings. We do have a public hearing noticed up this evening, a public hearing to receive public comments regarding the proposed water and sewer rates. If you wish to speak for or against the proposed water and sewer rates, have you come forward, state your name and address for the record, and then you will have the floor. Floor is open for public comments. There's nobody here inside City Hall. I don't see anybody on Zoom either. So I will close the floor for public comments. We'll move on to the consent agenda. Any items of discussion or questions on the consent agenda this evening? Seeing none, if we can entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Consent agenda passes. Next item is ordinances. First item this evening is a motion approving bill number 4, 2025, presented by Stephanie Harris, our finance director, an ordinance amending ordinance number 1553-2024 in the city code section 700, section 720 of the city of Kearney, Missouri, prescribing the amount to be charged to customers for water and sewer services. Stephanie, you have the floor.
Thank you. And can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Thanks for letting me attend remotely. This ordinance is related to the water and sewer increase. Our notice was published in the Kearney Courier on January 17th regarding the rate increase that we are proposing. Obviously, with every budget process, we go through a review of our costs related to producing safe drinking water and the proper treatment of our wastewater, those being two of our main goals of the Public Works Department and wastewater departments. And this proposed rate increase is necessary to cover the costs for the energy, chemicals, the equipment that we use to provide clean and safe drinking water and to treat our wastewater. These costs have increased significantly over the last couple of years, and we do not have any indication that that trend is going to change. Increased maintenance and inspections on our water and our wastewater systems is something we've made a priority. And this allows us to identify problems before they become significant and very costly. In addition, in order to expand the capacity as our city continues to grow and to replace our aging infrastructure, we need to begin planning and preparing for those changes. So we had proposed an increase that would add about $1.53 per month to the minimum water and sewer bill. And then based on the average Kearney household use, which is about 3,000 gallons of water a month, we anticipate that this will be about a $3.78 per month increase to those average residences.
Thank you for that report. Stephanie, are there any questions or items of discussion from the board on the proposed ordinance? Seeing none, if we can read the proposed ordinance on the first reading by title only, please.
An ordinance amending ordinance number 1553-2024
and the City Code Section 700 and Section 720 of the City of Kearney, Missouri, prescribing the amount to be charged to customers for water and sewer services.
Make a motion on the first reading.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Second reading by title only, please.
An ordinance amending ordinance number 1553-2024 and the City Code Section 700 and Section 720 of the City of Kearney, Missouri, prescribing the amount to be charged to customers for water and sewer services.
Make a motion to approve on second reading.
Second.
Pull the board, please.
Alderman King,
Aye.
Alderman Holt,
Aye.
Alderman Lehman,
Aye.
Alderwoman Barker.
Aye.
Vote is unanimous. Ordinance passes on the second reading. Next item is a motion approving bill number 5, 2025, presented by Sheila Ernzen, our city administrator, an ordinance adopting the fiscal year 2026 annual budget, appropriating expenditures from revenues of the city, and fixing the compensation for officers and employees for the city of Kearney, Missouri. Sheila?
We went into a lot of detail at the last meeting. Our entire meeting last time was dedicated to the budget, and this ordinance will approve the budget for fiscal year 2026.
Any questions from the board to staff on the proposed budget?
Make a motion to approve on first read.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Second reading by title only, please.
An ordinance adopting the fiscal year 2026 annual budget, appropriating expenditures from the revenues of the city, and fixing the compensation for officers and employees for the city of Kearney, Missouri.
Move to approve on second reading.
I'll second.
Pull the board, please.
Alderman Holt,
Aye.
Alderman Lehman,
Aye.
Alderwoman Barker,
Aye.
Alderman King.
Aye.
Vote is unanimous and ordinance passes on the second reading. Before we read in the next consideration, I am going to excuse myself from the room and not be present during the official vote in any conversation regarding bill number 6, 2025. My bank is financing this project, so I feel, even though it's not a conflict, the best thing for me to do would be to excuse myself from any conversation or consideration. So if somebody could please grab me after the vote has been recorded, please.
Before we get on this, is there anything, Kathy, that you'd like to mention on this? I know this went to plan and zoning.
There was not much discussion on this. It was approved pretty much as presented.
Okay. Dave?
Yeah, final plats are like that, you know, as long as the phasing follows the preliminary plat, engineering plans are approved for this phase. The important things to note about this phase are there are two benefits to this Greenfield 8th plat. One is the road connection from Prairie Creek Drive around Foxtail Drive happens. So we have a good loop system in the subdivision. And then two, the Greenfield lift station down at the bottom of Prairie Creek Drive by the pool will be decommissioned as part of this phase. So there'll be gravity sewer rather than a lift station.
Right, but this phase does not tie into 33, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Any other questions from the board? Please read on first reading.
An ordinance approving a final plat of Meadows at Greenfield 8th plat, a subdivision in Kearney, Missouri, and accepting dedication of right-of-way and easements thereon.
Make a motion on the first reading.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Please read on the second.
An ordinance approving a final plat of Meadows at Greenfield 8th plat, a subdivision in Kearney, Missouri, and accepting dedication of right-of-way and easements thereon.
Move to approve on second reading.
I'll second.
Alderman Lehman,
Aye.
Alderwoman Barker,
Aye.
Alderman King,
Aye.
Alderman Holt.
Aye. It passes.
Next item on the agenda is a motion approving bill number 7, 2025, presented by Chief Mark Thomas, an ordinance adding section 34290 to the municipal code of the city of Kearney, Missouri, related to hands-free driving. Chief Thomas?
Thank you, Mayor and Board. This ordinance basically is a mirror of the state statute that was recently passed and put into play in January of this year. It is a ordinance allowing our officers to issue a summons for the violation of driving without a hands-free device. It is a secondary violation. In other words, the people cannot be stopped for a primary violation. You have to have a primary violation to get stopped. It's like a seatbelt, is the best way to explain it. So you can't be stopped because you're talking on the phone. However, if you're stopped for something else and you see that someone's talking on the phone without the hands-free, they can be issued an additional summons.
Thank you for that report, Chief. Are there any questions regarding the proposed ordinance? Seeing none, if we can read the proposed ordinance first reading by title only, please.
An ordinance adding section 340.290 to the municipal code of the city of Kearney, Missouri, relating to hands-free driving.
Move to approve on first reading.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Second reading by title only, please.
An ordinance adding section 340.290 to the municipal code of the city of Kearney, Missouri, relating to hands-free driving.
Motion to approve?
I'll second.
Pull the board, please.
Alderman King,
Aye.
Alderman Holt,
Aye.
Alderman Lehman,
Aye.
Alderwoman Barker.
Aye.
Vote is unanimous. Ordinance passes on the second reading. Next item for consideration is a motion approving bill number 8, 2025, presented by David Pavlich, our Community Development Director, an ordinance amending Chapter 405 zoning regulations of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Kearney, Missouri. David?
Yeah, I do have some comments. So this zoning code amendment was put together to help meet one of the board's priorities of reducing lot sizes and adding some flexibility in our commercial and industrial zoning districts. It was presented to you at the last meeting, at a meeting last month. The board had some comments. We went back to the Planning and Zoning Commission for their meeting. They had some additional comments at their meeting before your last meeting. The changes today are highlighted, they're bullet pointed in the memo, and these were approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission, so the recommendations of approval. Changes from the last meeting include updating the lot coverage requirement, which were comments from the Planning and Zoning Commission. So on the residential side, we increased the lot coverage, and then on the industrial commercial, we reduced a little bit from what was originally proposed. We created an R1B zoning district to separate the changes in the R1 district. That was a recommendation by Alderman Lehman. Essentially, the uses are the same in both of those districts. It's just that the development, so lot size, is what is different in the R1B. We also increased proposed multi-family parking spaces from 1.5 spaces per unit to 1.7 spaces per unit and 1 space per studio and efficiency unit. There was discussion at the Planning and Zoning Commission at their meeting last week based on the board's concern about parking, and they felt a little bit of an increase from what was proposed last time. Gets us not at the bottom of our peer communities, but also not at the top. And so recommendations decrease a little bit to 1.7. And then we removed accessory dwelling units from the zoning ordinance. It really wasn't part of the board's priorities necessarily. There were some questions at the P&Z meeting, or the Board of Aldermen meeting last time about those, so we just pulled them, and we'll put together a separate ordinance for you guys at a later time this year. So based on those changes, again, Planning and Zoning recommends the updated ordinance be approved.
Thank you for that report. Alderman Barger, our Planning and Zoning liaison, do you have anything else to add?
I think David covered it really well. We spent a lot of time talking about parking and the necessity for allowing for visitor parking and all that. So I think this was a good compromise from where we started. And making sure that, like, if we have an apartment complex that's an efficiency, a complete efficiency unit, that we're not requiring them to follow those same rules. So.
Okay. Any other questions from staff or planning and zoning liaison?
Have you had any feedback from any builders or developers on this
On the
change?
zoning, they're zoning things, they're not building code things.
Well, I mean, it's out in the wind.
Yeah, we haven't.
Doing, so I didn't know.
Yeah, we haven't. At least there's an option there, you know.
Right.
Modifying a little bit.
If there's no other questions, we can read the proposed ordinance on first reading by title only, please.
An ordinance amending Chapter 405 zoning regulations of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Kearney, Missouri.
Move to approve on first reading.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Second reading by title only, please.
An ordinance amending Chapter 405 zoning regulations of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Kearney, Missouri.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Pull the board, please.
Alderwoman Barker.
Aye.
Alderman King.
Aye.
Alderman Holt.
Aye.
Alderman Lehman.
Aye.
Vote is unanimous. Ordinance passes on the second reading. Next item on the agenda is our January monthly financial report presented by Stephanie Harris, our finance director. Stephanie?
Thank you. The financials that you have in front of you are the financial statements for January 31st. We are 10 months through our fiscal year, or 83% of the way complete. Property taxes are continuing to come in for the year. Really, there were no other areas of concern for revenues, and nor anything concerning in any of the expenses or any of the other funds. So I didn't really have anything. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask, or if you need any additional information, always don't hesitate to call me or email me.
Thank you for, last meeting I asked you to get me something as time permits, and you got it to me within a couple of days, so thank you for that. Just wanted to pass that along to you. I don't know if I responded to that email or not, but does the board have any questions on the report? Thank you so much for that report.
You're welcome.
I have nothing on mayor's communications this evening. We'll move on to city administrators. I'm sorry, I skipped right over.
It's okay. We can do it under city administrative report.
Yeah, so as I'm just hopping along there, I did skip our third quarter operational results, so you have the floor.
Would you like me to, I'm going to try and share.
Yes.
So I'm going to go to slideshow first.
We're just kind of gonna have a team effort. These are our metrics, and we want to report these to you from October 1st through December 31st. That's our fiscal year third quarter. And I think that the city hall slide will be first. And Stephanie's gonna start us off.
Okay.
Bless you. Can you see it, Stephanie?
I can. You
Okay.
wanna go to the next slide.
We got Jerry, looks like Jerry Seiler in the audience too. Is that advanced, Stephanie? I can't-
Not on my screen.
Oh, here we go, let's try this. It's not working.
When I did the budget one, David, I had to just,
There you go.
good job.
Okay. Let's see if we can.
So this slide is the third quarter metrics for City Hall. And City Hall metrics are shown for staff members or areas of the city's operation that serve all the departments and all the staff. And those various departments and functions are shown on this slide. Some of the highlights for Q3 are we had 2 new hires, and our staff completed 57 professional education training hours. City Hall staff worked 23 overtime hours, which is less than Q2. We issued 549 paychecks, 971 payments to vendors. We produced 11,449 utility bills and sold 74 million gallons of water. We had 31 water shutoffs for delinquent accounts, and our IT staff member continued to handle an increased number of help tickets and worked diligently to maintain the safety and security of our data, all of our certifications, and our equipment. City Hall was at 66.2% of budget for year to date through December, and therefore our expenses were trending favorably. Moving on from metrics, just some other things that City Hall did during Q3. We continued to hold monthly employee engagement team meetings and communications team meetings, which are really integral in building our culture and helping especially new staff members become familiar with our priorities and all of the things that we emphasize. Our economic development team worked on the West Side CID last quarter. I think you might remember that we amended that CID to add projects. And in Q3, we actually expanded the boundary for that West Side CID. So that CID sales tax that is collected within that district will pay for projects in that area, such as water lines, sanitary sewer, stormwater, sidewalks, and more. The first planned project in that area will be the extension of the water line from 6th Avenue south to 92, and then west along 92 and tie into the water line at Academy Bank. Also, last quarter, we reported that the Board of Aldermen approved the K350 development plan for downtown, and we currently have 3 projects in the pipeline for that. We worked with two property owners at the new interchange on the west side of I-35, and the Board of Aldermen approved the all-new Gateway West CID. That CID will fund the water line down Nation Road, will improve Nation Road to a complete street standard, and will allow the future connection of Sandbar Drive between 92 and 19th Street. This was a critical initiative because it will bringing water to that site opens up almost 570 acres of land for commercial industrial development along I-35. So pretty important. Economic development also worked closely with community development to update the future land use map, which was approved by planning and zoning. And that map provides a visual representation of Kearney's desired future land use when development begins to occur. The finance department was hard at work. All staff was involved in the fiscal year 26 budget process, culminating in the presentation and approval this evening. Business license renewal letters were mailed in December. Staff issued W-2s and 1099s to all applicable parties. We held an open enrollment for employee benefits. We transitioned to a new health insurance provider. We implemented a new flexible savings account benefit as part of that enrollment process. We assisted on the administrative side and with the multitude of phone calls related to the transition to Redgate disposal. To date, that transition and our interactions with Redgate have gone wonderfully. We completed the selection of a new carrier, Midwest Public Risk, for the city's property and liability insurance coverage. Passed an ordinance to establish a formal procedure for leak adjustments and delinquent account shutoffs. And we transitioned our utility meter reading software from Census Logic to Census Analytics. That is probably enough from me on City Hall. Because then I'll roll right into municipal court. In Q3, municipal court cases continued to increase. They had 677 total cases compared to 302 in the previous quarter. Overtime hours continue to occur due to the volume of court cases, as well as our court administrator tending to a backlog of some cases. There were 5 warrants that were cleared during the quarter, and 439 cases pled guilty, which was a large increase. It was 175 pled guilty in Q2, so that is a large change. The municipal court department was at 73.5% of budget for the fiscal year to date. Therefore, the court's expenses are trending favorably as well. That's my report.
Community development, so David Pavlich here. This last quarter, we issued 36 building permits with over $6 million in investment. Almost all of that was covered by 10 new house permits. A couple of those probably were issued in Greenfield, and I say that because of we have in our audience. Jerry has joined us online. Also, a new project in Innovation Business Park, and then a major remodel of one of the senior housing projects in town. We also performed 384 inspections during the quarter. At the beginning of the quarter, we hired a new code enforcement animal control person. As a result of that, we responded to 67 total complaints, which was more than double the previous quarter. She was able to hit the ground running and start during that quarter. Not so much weeds. That's during the spring and summer months, more along the lines of unlicensed vehicles. It seems like that's what we key on about this time of year. We issued 31 dog licenses the past quarter, which happens to be the same as the previous quarter. We processed 5 submittals to Planning and Zoning Commission, which include a site plan for sports training facility, also in Innovation, and we hope that starts construction in the next couple of months. Our accomplishments the last quarter included updating the 2018 building codes, which went into effect earlier this month. And also, we successfully captured, spayed, and returned our first TNR cat. We've not done any since then. It is winter. We don't want to trap cats and have them sit in a trap overnight. And so we'll wait until spring and the weather gets a little nicer. Maybe we can continue to do some of that. And then tonight's zoning code amendment was one of our priorities for this current quarter. So we appreciate your approval of the zoning code amendment. Thank you.
Chief Mark Thomas with the Police Department. In the third quarter, we had 495 citations. We had 1,603 calls for service. We had 1,052 traffic stops. This is one of those statistics that I'm proud of. It's not that everybody gets a ticket every time they get stopped. It's a great contact that our guys use to reach out to the public, to not only educate, but also to, sometimes we do have to write tickets, and that's seen in the increase in the court activity. I always say that our guys have some great tools right now with our e-ticketing that you guys approved for us to have, but you don't get any e-tickets without an e-stop. So actually a real stop. So that's what our guys are out there doing. Our detective unit had 41 assigned cases and charges were filed in 1 case. We continued working on 13 more active cases, and then we had 24 inactive cases at this time. They're carrying a caseload of 80 cases between the 2 detectives. Our live training for our officers was 636 and a half hours for our officers. Havoc, I'm happy to report, had 41 and a half hours of training, and he's coming along really good, really well. When I talked to Corporal Parton recently, he's progressing even faster than what he anticipated. He's a really smart dog. He's still got a lot of energy, of course. That's what those dogs have, but he's catching on really, really well, and he's socializing as well, even better. So is he going to be somebody's lap dog? Never. We don't want him to be, right? And so, but he's doing a really great job, not only in the drug detection, but in everything, all aspects. He's way ahead of the curve. We have our SRO in place at the schools, but we still continue to do a lot of stop-bys. Our guys are still stopping by at the drop-offs and pickups and having fun with the kids. We did 4 community relations presentations, and we took 29 crash reports. Our average response time is still under 4 minutes, and I'm happy to report that we completed the homecoming parade and the winter parade in this quarter, and the success measure of a parade is when nothing bad happens. And nothing bad happened. I did have a little girl that was brought up to me at about 2 years old during the winter parade, which was after dark, and she was a little scared. She walked out of her house and decided all those people out there having fun on the sidewalk, she was going to go out and have fun with them. Well, they brought him to the first police officer, and that happened to be me, and I didn't even get to hold her yet, but Dad came frantically running down the sidewalk and picked up his daughter, and all was well. So that's how the story ends in a happy fashion. So that's it.
Thank you. Eric Marshall, Parks Department. Our department's vision is promoting health, fitness, and community well-being through our recreation opportunities, our welcoming trails and green space. We occupy 215 acres of parkland and over 7 miles of walking trails. And approximately 12% of our city's population will have participated in Kearney Parks and Recreation activities during this fiscal year. We have 3 full-time staff, Ryan Marcotte, Ray Kendall, and myself. We have 1 part-time employee, Jeff Anderson. He's allocated 1,000 hours this fiscal year, and we were hoping to have him back working this month in March, but little weather problems as we need to get preparing fields for games because our spring season is just around the corner. On the screen, the 11 hours of overtime you see is in the third quarter was for the Oktoberfest event. Our seasonal help is done for the season, and we had 3 of those allocated 1,000 hours, and they worked 818 and a half hours of the 1,000 hours allocated. As you can see, mowing slowed down significantly in the third quarter as we wrapped that up in October. We dumped 250 barrels of trash in quarter 3, slowing down significantly from our peak quarter 2 numbers. A lot of that was during the Oktoberfest event. We still collect pet waste stations once a week, probably not this week, as all the parks and on the trail, people still walk, but again, probably not this week. Tree trimming and removal of dead or dying trees were 6 in quarter 3, and we're happy that we had no vandalism cases in our third quarter. Ray Kendall, our certified playground inspector, did 3 full inspections this past quarter, and only mild safety issues were reported, and those were remedied. We had over 800 participants in our activities in quarter 3, with flag football, volleyball, soccer, pickleball, and our basketball being our offers. Our budget to actual is at 73.6% at the end of quarter 3. And naturally, our shelters slowed down significantly with the cold weather, with 12 in all of the parks over quarter 3. The community events, as I mentioned briefly, Oktoberfest, there were 565 people that attended that event through our Placer AI. And our Christmas parade had 2,200 visitors. And like I said, even though it doesn't feel or look like it right now, we're preparing for our spring season, reducing the amount of contract mowing we have. We're writing our contracts with vendors and have a lead with a radio station inquiring about a Christian concert at the amphitheater, all with this goal of meeting or exceeding the Board of Aldermen priorities for fiscal year 26. In Hall Park, we had a meeting just the other day with our engineer. We're closer to finalizing those plans and starting the process of the bid process for construction and actual development of the Hall Park property. So we're getting closer on that, and I'll keep you updated and things as we go on that. So that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you.
Fairview Cemetery, again, this is Q3, October 1st through December 31st. Marcos Barbosa, our cemetery sexton, had 23 hours he spent on cemetery cleanup. We did have some tree trimming and plant removal, 14 hours. We didn't have to till any graves or plant any seed during that quarter. We've marked 9 graves for burial, and 26 grave plots were sold. As I mentioned, Marcos has been working with Jamie and getting all the mapping up to date and all digitized. We anticipate bringing you the final recommendation of the cemetery rule sign that you guys briefly looked at earlier late last year for the rule sign board for Fairview Cemetery. We hopefully will have that for you in April for approval. And visiting with Marcos and Jamie, there are 170 available lots available in Fairview Cemetery out of 3,623 total lots, spaces that are available or were available in Fairview Cemetery. So 178 lots still available. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Warren Snyder, Kearney's City Engineer and Acting Public Works Director until Thursday when Shelley Daniel returns from vacation. The Public Works Department supports the city by managing public services including drinking water, wastewater, transportation, right-of-way, geographic information systems or GIS, engineering, and waste management. There are currently 5 full-time Public Works employees in Public Works at City Hall. A new metric that we're tracking this quarter captures our waste management service performance. The city is responsible for bin delivery and removal as part of our contract with Redgate Disposal. We are also responsible for making certain that Redgate provides service to customers who report a missed service on any service day. Our team provided service for 178 bins in Q3. When we were under contract with the previous waste management contractor is those 178. There's been a significant increase in service over the last month, and I think these numbers will go down next quarter. The city secured another 2 grants this quarter. The first is from MARC, or Mid-America Regional Council, to study traffic safety at the intersection of Nation Road and 162nd Street. Also from MARC, the city received funds to study and plan the connectivity of sidewalks, bicycle accommodations, shared use paths, and trails across the city. A special focus of this study will be to revitalize downtown by making it readily accessible for all transportation options. This quarter, our GIS map has 19,326 mapped data points that include our water lines, sewer lines, roadways, street maintenance work, and many more items. There were 39,058 online views of the GIS data. To give some perspective, that's up from 9,774 views last quarter. This is an increase of nearly 30,000 service touch points with our community stakeholders. We have been actively planning and contracting work. There are 17 active construction and consultant contracts. There is 1 active construction project at this time, and that's the water tower replacement project, which is a $5 million capital investment. The shadow brick culvert replacement project and the chloramine conversion projects completed in the Q3 below budget, while the water tower experienced a change order that added time for additional project scope while reducing the project cost. We have 6 planning studies underway, including 2 master plans for stormwater and transportation and 2 additional planning studies beginning. The first is the Connected Kearney Plan, which develops a citywide connectivity plan and pedestrian plan for sidewalks and trails, and the other is an integrated management plan, which helps with long-range planning for our capital investments for water, sewer, and stormwater. We have 3 active design projects. The first is the Mac Porter Park Trail extension along Route 33. The Pathways project, which fills in sidewalk gaps in neighborhoods and enhances sidewalk crossing, including flashing beacons on Route 33. The last one is the 19th Street Complete Street project between Meadow Lane Street and Street and Watson Drive to continue the complete street design and improve the Route 33 intersection. During the third quarter, 119 right-of-way permits were issued and inspected. The majority of these were related to the ongoing Intercept and United Fiber projects. Public Works' operating budget is 63% budget to actual. Public Works City Hall had no overtime hours in the third quarter. We had 43.5 training hours for our team. Looking ahead, work will pick up at the new Kearney Water Tower off of I-35 as the weather warms up. The city's MS4 permit will be completed at the end of February. Work on grant projects along with contracts to design several water main projects west of I-35 will be keeping us very busy. Next slide. So there are currently 8 employees with the water department. In the third quarter, staff responded to 4 water main breaks, completed 31 shutoffs for delinquent payment, and installed 8 meters for new construction. 46 million gallons of raw water were treated compared to last quarter's 60 million gallons. One of our wells was out of service, and this reduced our flow coming into the plant. That's why that number is down a little bit. The city sold 74 million gallons of water. 41 million gallons of water were purchased from Kansas City this quarter, down from 48 million gallons last quarter. The water department operated the treatment plant a total of 1,297 hours, or an average of 14 hours each day. Water staff performed over 9,252 treatment tests, 56 distribution tests, and flushed 123 hydrants. Due to the ongoing fiber installation across town, the water department responded to 854 locates in the third quarter. This was up from 698 locates the prior quarter. The department replaced 15 meters, replaced no mains, and operated 128 valves during the quarter. During this quarter, we successfully completed the chloramine disinfection conversion. With the startup of this treatment, a full system flush was completed. These tasks required water department employees to work longer hours to make certain that the water was safe to drink during the conversion. This quarter, we also submitted our lead and copper inventory report to Missouri DNR, and were able to confirm 86% of service lines to be non-lead materials. We are required now to confirm 10% of the remaining 542 unknown service lines in town each year going forward. The water department is at 80.1% of budget over actual, logged 86 hours of overtime, and completed 64 hours of training for the quarter. Next slide, please. There are currently 6 employees in the sewer department. For the third quarter, we treated 87 million gallons of wastewater with a total of 22 million gallons through the UV system. Our regulatory permit with Missouri Department of Natural Resources requires us to run the UV system from April 1st through October 31st. And that's why there's a difference between the total gallons treated and the UV gallons treated. We processed 125 dry tons of sludge, and we performed 1 lid inspection and 625 tests. We did 84 lift station inspections and responded to 1 clog. Our average flow for the last quarter was 950,000 gallons per day. Plant capacity is currently at 85%. The first quarter, we were at 62%, and the second quarter, we were at 90%. Plant capacity does fluctuate depending on the weather and if school is in session. Our budget at the sewer department is at 59% to actual, and this quarter we had 112 overtime hours, with the majority of those due to 3 employees taking a 10-day wastewater class. We had 231 hours of training. Next slide, please.
Lauren?
Yes, sir.
May I ask a question? So the difference of, looks like our facility third quarter treated 87 million gallons of stuff to treat, but we only sold 74 million. Was it safe to say that 13 million's I&I, or?
You're looking at the water numbers?
Yeah.
Yes, 13 million gallons is just for maintenance. Keep in mind, it was the chloramine conversion. We had to flush the entire system. So that's a lot of water that was wasted.
I'm sorry, I meant specifically looks like our sewer department treated 87 million gallons in Q3, but we only sold 74 million gallons in the water department. So I guess just that difference sticks out to me of what we sold, what was actually treated through our system.
And that's I&I, yeah.
13 million of it is I&I? That's the difference roughly? Okay, thank you.
We currently have 6 employees in our streets department. Fall is when we tackle the bulk of our crack sealing efforts, and we completed 44,600 lineal feet of crack sealing. We performed this maintenance work along Watson Drive, Meadowbrook, and at a variety of other locations to prevent water from entering the pavement and causing freeze-thaw damage. Staff completed 5 tons of asphalt patching around the community. We did no lane miles of overlay and maintained our pavement condition index rating of 58.9. With the leaves falling from the trees, we completed 72 hours of sweeping and 270 hours working on roadway beautification. That beautification includes flags, banners, and Christmas decorations that were maintained along Jefferson and Washington streets. With the fall weather, no ditching or mowing was completed in the third quarter. 75 lineal feet of sidewalk panels were replaced, and with no curb and gutter. We responded to one winter weather event in the third quarter that required snow removal. We did not complete any storm pipe cleaning or pipe replacement due to the cooler weather conditions. Our budget to actual was 53% with 15 overtime hours and 148 training hours.
I have a question. Do we ever take the street sweep around the residential streets and clean out the storm drains? Can we, with that roller, can we, because there's a lot of leaves that pile up on the storm drains. Can we do that? I mean, because I always see it on the main roads, but do we ever take them into residential just to, not to do the whole street, but to do those, storm cleanup?
I'd have to defer to staff. Lauren, is it?
I have seen the sweeper in residential neighborhoods, but I think we may.
Have you?
It's
I've
mainly
never seen it.
on our mainline roadways, but I can check on that.
Yeah, because a lot of those catch leaves, just to I didn't know if that would help with our stormwater.
I believe that concludes the third quarter operation results. Safe to say that we remain very busy. A lot kind of sticks out to me, but specifically, we're talking about, I had no idea our water department located that much of our infrastructure. That is crazy. That's enough to keep a person busy in itself, but the 17 projects, the active contracts that we're working in public works is exciting too. So a lot of good things. Appreciate each and every one of our staff members that has helped us be successful. Move on to city administrator's report.
Just that the next regular board meeting will be on Monday, March 3rd, right here at 6:30 p.m.
We'll move on to Alderman discussion. Alderman King.
I don't have much. Not much at all.
Okay. Alderman Barter.
I want to take a minute to commend everybody that has worked on this budget. I think if somebody tuned in this evening and they said, oh, they just rubber stamped that, it was just there, and they have no idea how much work went into this with city staff and with this board. And so I just want to commend everybody. Is it the perfect budget for me? Probably not. There's things that everybody would change in this budget, but the way democracy works and the way that budgets work is that you do the best you can with what you have, and everybody should get a little piece of that pie. So I just want to commend everybody. There was a lot of hard work that went into this, and I'm really proud of what's been accomplished.
Thank you. Alderman Holt.
Tomorrow evening is a celebration of life for one of our business owners in town, Brad Brown. who had passed at an early age. And he, with RE/MAX here in town, he touched a lot of people, the office touched a lot of people, and so I just want to remind people that his visitation is, yes, Thursday from 5 to 7. I got my days messed up with all this going. It's Thursday, 5 to 7 at Hidden Valley Funeral Home.
Alderman Lehman?
I just want to piggyback on Alderman Barber's comments on the budget. There's no perfect budget, but there were a lot of man-hours spent on this budget, making it the best budget that we could. I know I personally, partly because I'm retired and had the time, but I personally spent more time on the budget this year than I have in years past because I had the time. And so for those naysayers out there that, it looks like we just take a vote and we're done, little do they know the work that goes on in the background. So kudos to staff, all of staff, and it's the best we could do this time. So.
All right, that concludes Alderman discussion. Can we entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Everybody have a good evening. Thank you for being here. Have a nice evening.